right that second. Not every post is. Some things are more, right in the moment, but, just pay attention to all those things. And then that can help inform things and take a lot of that guesswork out of the creativity.
From engagement and social listening to modern social proof, this conversation reframes social media as relationship building, ding, 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 not content production. So if posting feels exhausting or ineffective, this episode explains why and what to do instead. So posting more used to feel like that was the thing we were supposed to do, but enter the scene 2026 and everything has changed. And of course, everything's going to continue to change with technology, but today we're talking about what actually builds trust on social media and in real life. But I'm very excited to have our social media director, Summer Boyd, with me today. Hi, Sum. How you doing?
Hey, Rach. Doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm really excited to dive into this overall theme today about why showing up better means more than showing up louder. Let's jump in.
Sounds great.
All right. So social media is no longer just the content platform, and maybe it never was, but maybe we kind of forgot that it's social media. It has to be about relationship and connecting. Um, and you had this great analogy that you shared with me the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what social media is all about. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, posting without engaging is like going to a network event and then just standing in the corner on your phone. And I mean, we got to admit it, we probably have all done that at some point, when you're just not in the mood.
Yeah.
But, that defeats the purpose if you're there to network and gain business and you're not interacting with those potential clients and realtor partners. Then what's the point of being there? And that's the
Yeah.
same thing for social media. It is about being social. You want to engage with that audience, not just put something out there and then no comments, no responding, no liking other people's posts.
I think that is such a great analogy. And when you said that, I had never really thought about it in that context. But yeah, you would never do that. I mean, sure, we kind of get stuck sometimes and we, don't want to interact, but you wouldn't put yourself out there. You wouldn't go that far and then just sit in the corner and talk to yourself. So I think having that analogy just in the back of people's minds, that's really important. So let's talk about, how do we do that, because we can all get in our own way and we get busy, and there's a lot of different factors that go into why we're not doing the things we know we need to do. So let's talk about, the big picture. What do you think has changed most about social media in the last year or two, or maybe even just this last year?
Yeah, so many things, but as
No, I feel
yeah,
like it's
social
moving really
media is
fast.
right. It's always changing, but I think one of the biggest shifts is with the rise of AI is the focus on being authentic and real,
Yeah.
because AI has this, capability, and it's getting better and better at looking real. Um, Showing up more authentically and human is so important, and that's where engagement is a huge part of that. It's especially important for businesses and loan officers. Over 75% of people check a business's online presence. And it's not just about if they're posting, they're looking to see if you're interacting. So if you're just like a blank page, they're not going to be as impressed. And 90% of people will more likely buy from a person that they follow on social media too. So those are really, impressive statistics. I started doing a little research before our meet on the latest, and I was like, wow, like that's a big one. 90% of people are more likely to buy from someone that they follow. So that's another reason you want to engage, and why engagement is such an important part of it.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, we're making the effort to post and try to get people to subscribe or like what we're doing, but then that's a captive audience. We need to keep up that engagement and keep that relationship going. I want to jump back to one thing that you said, because it was just like a bell, a signal, a word that I've been hearing a lot lately about how showing up human is very important. When in history did we would we ever think that that is an important thing to say? Show up human. But it's true. Like, it is very hard to tell what is real, what is not, what is AI, what is dubbed, uh what is a filter. So showing up human, like, can we dig into that a little bit more? Because I don't think we can drive that home enough for people.
Yeah, just, there's a lot of talk lately about how we may be going more towards live content again because of the rise of AI. And in until, we're not there yet, but I think this intermediate period is just going to be more about being like really letting your hair down in your content, not being so perfect and polished. It's not about being polished, it's just about being authentic. And part of that authenticity is not just posting and ghosting, as I like to say, but
Yeah.
actually interacting when someone responds to your post. And then beyond that, commenting and sharing other people's posts, because that also, you know lending is a relational thing, so we want to um, translate that on your social media. You want to support your realtor partners online, and a great way to do that is sharing their content and commenting on it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And it's just wild to me that, yes, showing up your human authentic self, I guess that takes a lot of pressure off of people, because how many times do we feel like, even before this podcast, we're getting on, we're like, okay, how's my hair? How's my makeup? How's my background? How's all the things? Which, yes, it's very important. And the episode, a few episodes ago, I was talking about how showing up online, meeting up with somebody for the first time and doing a meeting online is very important. That's kind of your digital handshake, how you show up that first time, that first impression is important. But social media is a little bit of a different story where it's like, just be yourself. And I think that takes a lot of pressure off of people. But let's continue down this rabbit trail a little bit. Why does posting consistently not work the way people expect anymore?
I think, especially for businesses, we're talking about businesses, not
Yeah,
just your personal. So, um, it, social media isn't a billboard anymore. That's a really great way to look at it.
that
Like,
is a
it's
great
no
way.
longer
Yeah.
a billboard. And that's the way a lot of people treat it. They treat it just like a billboard. They're going to post something and they're done. They think that's all they need to do. The reason why it's not working anymore is the algorithm doesn't push out business content. And that's where that engagement comes in. It's turned into a conversation and a community. So you want to treat your social media business profiles, not just your personal ones, as a community, and try and start working on building that community.
Well, and I guess that's where someone like you comes in who, this is something that you focus on for a lot of our channels. And we were finding that it was really hard for just, if this isn't our main position, it was hard for us to focus on all of the HMA, Loma, our individual pages. So, I'm always a big fan of if not you, then who. So having somebody that's the job. It's not just posting isn't just the job, it's the interacting and the relational side of it. So to designate somebody to do that, how do you feel about that? Do you think that it has to be the loan officer or the realtor or the main person doing that, or is it just as long as it's somebody interacting?
Yeah, it could be, especially with business pages. It can definitely be somebody on your team. It doesn't have to be you. Working together, making sure you have a strategy, and a voice, and tone that you want to go about, when responding, when commenting, when sharing. Um, yeah, if you have that capacity to hire someone on to focus on it, definitely, like, that's a big way to go. You look at large corporations, they have whole social media teams. They have teams
Yeah.
that are just on community. That's a job, in social media, is community. And so yeah, like, having someone to focus on that to take the load off would be great. If not, there are things you can do. If you're not able to, you can still engage without it taking away from your business, your day to day. Just a small amount of time can make a huge difference.
I know that's something I think in a lot of different areas we're talking to our loan officers about, and really anyone in sales. The time blocking and just making sure it becomes part of your routine of what you do. There really is power in that, and taking 5 or 10 minutes a day just to go through and not get stuck in going down the rabbit hole of looking at what everyone's doing, staying in your lane of, okay, here's my top 10, 15, 20 people that I'm following and really want to engage with. I try to do that. It's hard though, but it's the consistency and making it an actual effort. Um, so moving on to our kind of our next topic here about just engagement. Engagement is the work, right? Engagement is the thing that drives the algorithms and drives everything. Talk to me about the algorithms, because we say that word algorithm often. Um, and sometimes people don't really understand what that is or how that works.
Yeah, so it's just when you hear that word, it's basically just all of the settings of the specific platform in the background that, decide, what content to push. Instagram, for instance, the head of Instagram not too long ago he puts out videos all the time talking about changes to their algorithm, changes to their settings, and he will let you know if you follow his content what the algorithm looks at. And one of the big things is average watch time and shares. Those are two of the big things. So that kind of information and paying attention to that can help. And shares is one of those engagement factors. When someone shares your content, that particular stuff is talking about the more video content. So that is important too. But as far as engagement, the way it helps within the algorithm is it just lets the system know you're a human. Like we keep talking about being a
Yeah.
human.
Okay.
If your business pages don't get pushed out as much as they used to, they just don't. Like the percentage, I think, is maybe like it's like 1%. It's very small for Facebook. It's higher for other platforms, but it's really small. And the way to increase that is through engagement. The more active you are, the more your reach is going to be, because it starts getting shown to other people. Then they're going to like that post that you, or see that you commented on someone else's post from a business page. They're going to see that, and then it's going to start serving your content to them again. Like that's how it works. It's all community, like we talked about. It's interaction, and that's why engagement is such a big part of that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And makes sense why there is a blind spot sometimes with the business pages. So it's not that they're going away. Some people think that they're completely going away, but we just need to work a little bit harder, I guess, to increase the engagement on the business side. Do ads help if you do a business, if an ad for your business page, does that help with
It
overall?
definitely does, and that's why, they're not sent out as much. It's been years ago, but they made a big switch on business pages where they don't get shared. The content doesn't, as far as the algorithm, specifically because they want businesses, to buy ads. It's a money making business. Meta is, and all of them are. So they of course want business pages to buy ads. But that doesn't mean you have to. It can definitely help, but like I said, engagement is important. And that, like you said, blind spot, and that is a big one, especially for loan officers and people in the mortgage industry, or anyone that has a business, like more of an individual business page. A lot of people interact from their personal pages. Even in business,
Mhm.
they'll have a business page thinking, well, I'll have it here, that way if someone goes and interact, or looks me up online, which consumers and clients will, and realtor partners, they'll look you up online, they'll see that business page before they will your personal page, especially if your personal page is private. So they're going to see that first. And if you're not interacting at all, if you're just posting, very static graphics and not interacting on there, not doing any kind of video occasionally, and not responding to the comments, like if they see a post that has a comment that didn't get a response, that's going to make an impact on them. So that's why it's really important to take a few minutes when you're already on social media to switch into your business page and interact with your realtor partners, your clients. Make sure you responded to comments.
As you're saying this, I'm thinking to myself, when was the last time I logged into my business page that I need to respond to people? You're right, because this actually happened to me the other day where I was looking something up. I was looking a dance studio up for my daughter, and I went to their page, and there was something from 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, that's okay. Are they still in business? And I think that's probably the question people get if you're not keeping up with the posts on your business page, it's probably better to not have one at all rather than have something that has information from 2, 3 years ago because people will think you're just not in business.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, that's a very good point. You do wanna keep it active. That doesn't mean you have to be posting every day. It's
No.
more quantity over quality. That's a big factor. You wanna keep that in mind, but you do wanna make sure you have a strategy in place and you're posting, consistently, even if that's once a week. That would be much better, for instance, for that dance studio if you saw a post once a week versus you haven't seen anything for 3 years.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, maybe
yeah.
they did go out of business. I don't know. But I moved right along. Um, I wanna talk about social listening. I hear you talk about this term, social listening, quite often, and, I guess the whole idea around it from you can correct me if I'm wrong, from what I've been listening to you talk about with social listening is that the best content is already out there, you just have to listen. So, I I mean, I wanna talk about what that looks like and, um, why response-based content works better. Can we dive into this a little bit? Because I think this is something that might be new to people, this whole social listening concept.
Yeah, yeah. So social listening it's exactly what it sounds like. Just listening to what's going on social media. That's it. And the reason what you said, how the best content is already being written. Um, that means, like, people are already sharing what they need and want online.
Mm,
Realtors will share frustrations. There's a lot of fun, like, realtors are like, they're having to be online like crazy. Let's just be real. Like, there's a lot of great realtors, they're having to be influencers. And they take their daily frustrations and they do lots of fun video content based
yeah,
on things that are like a day in their life. If you see those, you can take that, and that can inform your strategy when dealing with realtors. Like, oh, this is what they're dealing with. How can I help them in that? How can I answer that question? So that can inform, your relationship with them too, but also your content. So you get your content ideas from realtors, from clients, from other industry partners on what's going on in the industry, what home buyers are, dealing with. Look at all that, through staying, online, just watching, observing, and that can help you inform what kind of content you need. So you're not just, I have no idea what to post. You'll know what to post if you're watching other people.
I really like that approach because it's like they're giving you the problem, then you can give the solution without having to sell and having to push and just or even just call them up and say, "Hey, I saw you had posted about this," or weave it into conversation. They're giving you the problem right on a silver platter. That's a great way to jump in and kind of save the day. Again, without being salesy. I think we're all looking
Exactly.
for ways to try to not be as salesy. So I really like that. I guess um, for someone who overthinks content, this is a way that they could simplify their content and provide a solution.
Exactly. Yeah. Just reading comments on your posts, or other loan officers' posts. When you sit there and just can't think of what to say, look and see what people are commenting. You search and explore, on the different platforms to see what's trending, what's popular. Save posts, and or just screenshot a post to keep for an idea for later on. It's not something you have to act on right that second. Not every post is. Some things are more, right in the moment, but just pay attention to all those things, and then that can help inform things and take a lot of that guesswork out of the creativity.
I think that's gonna be a really big takeaway for people because that's one of the things that I think I hear often. I'm sure you hear often also, like, "I don't know what to post. Can you help me create a content calendar? Can you give me some video ideas?" But, in the words of Glinda the Good Witch, I love my I love my Dorothy, "You've had the power all along. It's right there in front of you. You just need to dig a little deeper, right?" And the problems are there and you have the solution. So to be able to connect that, I think that's going to be a really big takeaway for people.
Yeah, it does make such a big difference because I've been there in content creating, just trying to figure out things to do, and I found that, there's a lot of talk about, well, isn't that kind of copying people? I'm not saying take a post and do exactly the same thing. I'm saying
No.
look at what other people are doing, what their frustrations are in the industry, what's going on, then that can help inform what you do. Like, okay, this is the question, what's the answer? And that
Right.
makes a big difference. And it's a great way to share tips, share advice, entertain a little bit too, without, like you said, without it being so salesy, because it's not always, oh, come to me, get a loan from me. It's how can I make this better? How can I make your life better? Like, and the way you do that is checking to see what's wrong, and that's where social listening comes in.
Yeah, that's great. Extremely valuable information, and I think leads back to the trust factor. The trust factor is huge. I feel like it's even tougher to gain that trust, especially when we're using a filter, especially when we're just out for our own good. We need to build that trust by listening to what other people need, having the solution, showing up authentic, all of this stuff. But um, one thing I do want to drive home, that trust isn't something that is built immediately. It is not built with one post. It's built over time with the consistency. Um, and I think with that social proof, let's talk about that a little bit. So, this really goes into the trust factor and how important trust is to build over time, and it's not something that's going to be one post and done, people trust you. Let's dive into that a little bit, and how social proof really goes hand in hand with trust. Can we
Right.
talk about
Yeah.
just the
Sure.
social
Social
proof
proof, that may be
concept?
something. Yeah, that may be something that the audience may not have heard much before. So what social proof basically is, it's the answer to one simple question your audience is asking. And even if they don't say it out, and can I trust you? That's what social proof is. So in the past, social proof meant telling people you were good at your job. So think reviews, testimonials, closed loan posts. And that's what we're
Okay,
used to doing to showcase our social proof. And that is still important. Those are still very important things to include in your social strategy to show that, potential clients can trust you. But that's not the only thing, now in the rise of AI. So there's much more, and it's about building trust over time. So people are spending more time, more and more time on social media. So they're looking at more things than just the reviews. They're looking at how you treat others, how you show up, and how present you are, and that's where that engagement kind of plays a part. So if you're only posting, you're not commenting on other posts, like that makes a huge difference. Think about like larger businesses, for instance, that will just, it's a big thing now with larger businesses to start posting or commenting on other people's posts when they get tagged. Like they will comment or share. And when that happens, that makes a huge impact on the people that see that post, that are interacting with that post. It'll make news, when
sure.
businesses do that, and that on a smaller scale can make a huge impact on your own business, on your personal business. If you're commenting, when a client posts on their own page about their home, closing loan, you're congratulating them. But maybe later down the road you see a post where they pop up and it says something about their home again, or even just a birthday, saying happy birthday to them on social media. Those kind of things show people that you care, and it's more than just a one-time transaction with you. It shows
Sure.
them that you are in a relationship and that you're there for them when they need you.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I think people probably pick up on things without realizing it, right? It's all these little subtle moments that build up over time. Um, and I would imagine too, a lot of times the corporation, the company is seen as just the name, but all of a sudden when the name is commenting and creating this rapport online, it again humanizes the company itself. So are you seeing that out there?
Oh yes, yeah. Like you see that everywhere, and that's a like I mentioned, community. That's a position now, and that's what their job is. Like they are interacting with that community. There are people that all they do is monitor when the account gets tagged, and then they go out and comment on. and it can be a small, just a small individual account where it gets tagged on and other people are commenting too. It can be larger ones, but that interaction matters. And for our loan officers, for people within the industry, think about when someone may recommend you on a neighborhood page.
Yeah.
And sometimes those aren't always private, and you might actually see that. You might see a notification pop up that says, I recommend so and so, if they tagged you, thanking them. Like, if you're able to comment in response, thank them on there, and that's going to be seen by all the people that see that post. And so that kind of thing makes a big difference, and it's important to just interact with the community, show up when you're not selling too. So that means commenting on other business posts. Think about all the other small business owners in your community that are in the same boat as you. We have those great local love days that some of our loan officers are doing. And a lot of our loan officers are doing things like this where they will highlight businesses once a week on social media, tag that business. Those kind of things make an impact when someone's looking at your page, and your social media. They see you're involved in the community. And that's another aspect of social proof that you care more about than just a sell. You care about your community too.
Yeah, that really does make a difference. I know from my own personal experience, we have one of those community pages too, and someone will comment and recommend somebody. And the people that don't, maybe they just don't see it, but the people that do respond, there is a different level of, oh, okay, yeah, this is a real person. They're actually seeing this. They tell them, hey, I'll reach out, thank you so much for the comment and the recommendation, I'll reach out to you privately. Like there is another level of trust that is built there. So that's a great example. I love that. Everyone, if you're not on those community pages, you need to be, or create one on your own and start one. If your town or your community, your city doesn't have one, start one. um all right, so let's wrap up. I mean, the big idea is that loan officers who win are not necessarily louder. I think we all felt for years that you just had to be louder, tons of stuff and events and videos and tons of content, and that's not that. Some of that's still true, but that's not necessarily the case. They just need to be more present, not more polished, not louder, not bigger, just more present. Um, if someone's overwhelmed by social media, which we know can be a thing, I think in any industry, right? Where do you think they should start?
Yeah, I say that that is one of the biggest things I run into when I'm
Me too.
giving advice and training is they're overwhelmed from the start because they just feel like they have to do everything right away. And so my biggest advice is start small. You do not have to do it all at once. You can start small. You can start with one platform. So pick the platform that most of your clients and realtor partners are already on. Start there. Engage before you post, so create your business page, start engaging before you post. You could start with an intro post, of course, but just start looking around, following accounts, and then start commenting and responding and showing up in conversations. Just take a few minutes a day to do that. You can, when you already are on social media, say first thing in the morning. Most people check social media first thing in the morning, and then right around the end of the business day too, and a lot of times on lunch breaks, right? So take one of those times you're already scrolling, set a little timer so you don't doom scroll, and then go ahead and switch into your business page and like and comment and share some post of your realtor partners. Just that right there, doing those three things will make a huge difference and impact. So, start small, take just a few steps. Once you've mastered that, then you can look at doing more. Then you could branch out into video if that's something scary and you've not done yet. But just start small, one step at a time, and then build as you go.
That's really great advice, and I think we always talk about these great lofty ideas, but then where do we start? So that was perfect. It's tangible, step by step. I love that. And one last question, I guess. What do you think is the one habit that will matter most going forward into this new frontier that we're in? Is there one specific thing that you can think of?
I would say, engaging. And I know I just said it,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
setting a time, make it a part of your day. We just had a book club meeting yesterday on atomic habits, and it's talking about making good habits, and that's just a good reminder. If and it's a small habit you can make. Like I said, this doesn't have to take up all your time. You can take just a few minutes every day, find a spot, set a timer, go ahead and engage a little bit on social media, and then put it down and go about the rest of your day. It doesn't have to take all day, and that will help you. If you start doing that every day at that time, you're going to see your community build. You're going to see more followers.
I love that. That's great advice. Well, you heard it here, everyone. Summer, thank you so much for jumping on with me today. I think this is really valuable information, and some things that we've heard before, some things we haven't heard before, but regardless, it's about starting, showing up, starting small, just getting it done, showing up consistently. We want to hear your questions too. Engage with us online, and we will comment back. But this has been a great episode. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Lending Leadership. We'll catch you next time. Bye.